John, your definition of stress, what is it?
Well, everybody's got experiences where they have emergency, urgency, change, rapid change in their lives. And this is why stress has gone up with with faster communication, with more things to do in the day because we have all of our modern conveniences. This actually increases the stress, which means opportunities to succeed or fail, opportunities to succeed or fail, greater choice and greater decisions and more urgent decisions, meaning a faster pace of life, actually causes what's called the stress response in the body. The stress response is measured by cortisol. And what happens in the old days, if a bear was chasing us, we'd experience a rise in cortisol. It would raise our blood sugar. That would cause our muscles to run faster, and then we'd be exhausted and tired. That's the emergency mode. It also causes blood flow to the back part of the brain where we have faster reaction time, but we're not capable of making creative decisions. We're actually capable of reacting quickly according to patterns of the past, of pre-programmed patterns. So literally, when people are under stress, they don't make the best decisions, but more importantly, it affects our health dramatically. If we just had occasional moments of stress, our body would become stressed. The whole shift would go from our normal mode of functioning to emergency mode and then back, and then the body would recover. But we tend to be in a stress mode chronically now because we have so much a sense of urgency, emergency. And this has a much bigger toll on women. When we look at the stress levels in women, first of all, just a sense of uncertainty or urgency and emergency on a man can actually calm him if he has confidence. A woman could have confidence, but still her stress levels go up much, much higher than a man. And then when a woman does experience stress, even the moderate stress of what women call feeling overwhelmed, they feel like there's not enough time to get everything done because there's so many more opportunities to do things. They overschedule things, and suddenly they're going, I have to do this. When you do a brain scan of a woman who's feeling overwhelmed versus a man who's also reporting moderate stress, they're both in the same similar situation, and they both report to be moderately stressed. There's 8 times more blood flow in the emotional part of the brain of a woman. And this goes to the hippocampus, which is the emotional memory, and it activates the memory of bad things in her life or stressful things in her life, and it creates a sense of panic. If she's in a relationship with a guy, literally when she's under moderate stress, she experiences a kind of temporary amnesia where she forgets any good thing he's ever done, and she's suddenly remembering all the bad things or all the disappointments or the frustrations, or she's anticipating bad things to happen. And this is what happens when women are in a world which is much more stressful than before. Their happiness levels have now dramatically gone down. And this has been reported by universities in the last 10 years, where for 50 years they've been doing tests showing that women were happier than men. Now women are showing to be less happy than men. Women's illnesses are on the rise as well. You can almost, some of the old news was that the more educated a woman was or financially independent, the less chance she was of getting married or staying married. And that's absolutely true. But now what you have is the more educated a woman is, the more financially sufficient she is, the higher her risk of cancer, breast cancer in general. Wherever there's population growth of wealthy women, the breast cancer levels are much higher. And this is because they have more opportunities. And with more opportunity comes more choice, and choice raises stress. And for women, what the new research has shown, and this was done at UCLA about 6 years ago, that a hormone called oxytocin is the hormone that lowers stress for women. And testosterone lowers oxytocin. And when you're doing testosterone activities, it doesn't stimulate oxytocin. Anything that has to do with emergency inhibits the production of oxytocin, and therefore it's harder for women to maintain a healthier response to stress. So you asked me, what is this stress we're talking about? It's measured by cortisol in the body, and it has very predictable effects on the body. The first is that you get tired out faster. You tend to start feeling exhausted and tired due to chronic stress levels, and then the adrenal gland makes cortisol. It then starts becoming exhausted, and your stress levels and your exhaustion energy levels just stay really, really low. also inhibits digestion. And when digestion is inhibited, then the body can't get the amino acids from protein necessary to make the good brain chemicals to make us feel good. And then we become even more stressed. Also, if you're stressed, it inhibits the functioning of your immune system. Literally, anybody who's gotten a speeding ticket, for example, they know that's a big moment of stress. If you look at your blood at that time, you'll see that the immune system stops making white blood cells for several days. The immune system literally is not functioning under stress. Your body's basically saying, I don't care about staying alive. We need to get away from this animal, and then we can come back to keeping our body healthy.
Yeah, we'll worry about that later. That's what it does to you, doesn't it?
Exactly. Everything that has to do with maintaining a healthy body and a good mood and good feelings, all of the things for good relationship and health, simply go on hold when the body's in this emergency mode. And it's not like today we're all in emergency mode all the time, but compared to other times, it's much, much higher. And this takes a huge toll on the body, and then that causes sugar cravings. People start wanting to eat carbohydrates, and never before in history have people eaten so many carbohydrates. We need some carbohydrate as fuel for the brain. But when we eat so many carbohydrates, what it does, it creates a whole list of health problems. Cancer and heart disease, and of course diabetes and obesity are some of the big names that happen when we start experiencing this stress mode.
I lowered my glucose levels, John, after you were on with us 2 years ago when you told me about PGX, that supplement, and I dropped it 30 points.
Well, George, that's what in my new book, Venus on Fire, this chapter 3 is all about the importance of blood sugar for balancing hormones, for good brain chemistry, for being healthy. And it's a simple solution for people that, don't want to go off to be on a raw food diet or something like that. There's ways that you can take PGX, and it will help to stabilize blood sugar for you.
That's a pretty good drop, isn't it? 30 points?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic just to think of doing that. For me, the experience was, I'm 58, and I started noticing in my 50s I was starting to feel tired after eating, particularly if I had carbohydrates or desserts or something.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of unstable blood sugar. And so when I started taking the PGX, which is like a fiber for people with water, it just slows down the digestive process and makes it more thorough and prevents blood sugar spikes. When you're able to slowly digest the carbohydrates instead of them happening very fast, then you don't get low blood sugar and you don't get spikes of insulin. And so that's what you were finding is the wonderful change. For me, it was just basically I'm no longer tired after eating meals, which is great. I've got a good 4 to 5 hours of energy, stable energy, because my blood sugar is stable.